Australians are confirming Russian fakes, Norway hates free speech, and radioactive materials have been smuggled out of Ukraine. Disinformation never stops, but neither do we. Welcome to Stop Fake, the place where we break down fakes about Ukraine and expose the outlets that generate them. So let's get to it. Russia's propaganda machine never gets tired of manufacturing all manner of evidence to support the Kremlin's version of the downing of Malaysian Airlines flight MH17, the passenger airliner that was shot down on July 17, 2014, while flying over eastern Ukraine, killing everyone on board. The latest fake claims that new documents have appeared about the crash and were authenticated by the Australian Federal Police, suggesting, of course, that a country that was directly affected by the downing of MH17 is somehow proving Russia's narrative. Australia's Federal Police is in fact working with the International Joint Investigation Team, but Russian media continue to cut and paste each new MH17 fake. Some of the documents recently disseminated online about the downing of MH17 are genuine, Russian media declared a few weeks ago, and they attribute their report to the Australian Federal Police, but they don't provide a single link or a quote. These fake stories do link to Bonanza Media, however, a dubious platform which has published this alleged new evidence. Bonanza Media's co-founder is Max van der Werf, who is not only associated with Russian proxy forces in the so-called Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, but also with Russian authorities. Australia's Federal Police has not issued any statements concerning the documents referred to by the dodgy Bonanza Media platform. One of the last official police press releases concerning the downing of MH17 was from a press conference when the names of 4 suspects involved in shooting down the Boeing were announced. Now, the findings of the Joint Investigation Team remain unchanged. Its 15-month investigation into the cause of the downing of flight MH17 concluded that a warhead fired by a Buk missile launcher caused the plane to break up and crash, killing everyone on board. The missile system was transported from the Russian Federation to a farm field near the city of Pervomaisk in eastern Ukraine under Russian occupation, from which the rocket was launched. After the firing, the system-1 missile returned to Russia. On May 2, 2018, the Joint Investigation Team announced in its conclusion that the Buk missile belongs to the 53rd Anti-Aircraft Missile Brigade, a unit of the Russian Armed Forces based in Kursk. Russian media announced last week, in response to a Norwegian visa denial issued to a Crimean journalist, that Norway disregards freedom of expression and represses freedom of speech. Irate that Norway would dare to deny a visa to an academic and journalist who had been invited to attend an international conference on Crimea, Russian media called the entire affair a scandal that was intentionally created by Norwegian authorities and claimed that local members of parliament and diplomats protested against Norway's official position and called them puppets dependent on the United States. So, who is this Norwegian member of parliament, and why the delirium that has RIA Novosti, Parlamentskaya Gazeta, Ukraina.ru, and other Russian disinformation outlets going apoplectic again? Well, the so-called International Conference on Crimea is organized and overseen by the Russian authorities currently occupying Crimea. The person who was denied a visa is Alexander Mashchenko, a pro-Kremlin journalist working for the Russian newspaper Parlamentskaya Gazeta. Mashchenko was currying favor with Moscow well before the occupation. He continuously praised Russia and its policies. Mashchenko attempted to get a visa using a newly issued Russian Crimean passport, a document that is not recognized by Schengen's own countries. The Norwegian embassy did not recognize Mashchenko's shiny new Russian passport, denied him a visa, and suggested that he, as a Ukrainian citizen, use a Ukrainian biometric passport instead. Another organizer of this international conference is the Norwegian People's Diplomacy Association. Formed in 2017, the association has just 2 members, Henrik Weber and Mette Rosenlund, private entrepreneurs in the concrete business who are husband and wife. 3 years ago, Weber and Rosenlund became self-anointed people's diplomats. They dubbed themselves national politicians and began traveling to Ukraine's occupied territories and Crimea. Typically, after each of these visits, Russian media unleash a wave of fake news claiming that Norway is poised to recognize the Russian status of Crimea and is looking to lift the Russian and Crimean sanctions. Mr. Weber, however, is neither an MP nor a diplomat. He has absolutely no political power or clout in Norway. Several pro-Kremlin publications warned ominously last week that a source of ionizing radiation has disappeared without a trace in the southwestern Ukrainian city of Uzhhorod, presaging a nuclear catastrophe. The source for these alarming fakes was a post on the social media platform Telegram from a group called Svarshchike, or welders, claiming that an ionizing radiation IBN-7 source used for scientific and educational purposes had gone missing from the Uzhhorod National University. Svarshchike warned that the incident will not only have repercussions for Ukraine, but also for its Western partners, because ionizing radiation can only be used for malicious purposes and be smuggled out into the EU. Now, the Svarshchike Telegram account describes itself as focusing on the threats and successes of Russia in foreign and domestic politics. The account often cites questionable anonymous sources, Russian Crimea sources, the fake Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics, along with well-known pro-Kremlin sources of disinformation such as RIA Novosti and Russia's Federal News Agency. The postings are generally about Ukraine's alleged terrorist activities, NATO's involvement in the spread of the coronavirus, and other conspiracy theories. Like other countries, Ukraine uses many sources of ionizing radiation in medicine, industry, geology, and scientific research. All companies using sources of ionizing radiation are required to obtain an appropriate license from Ukraine's Nuclear Regulatory Inspectorate, as well as other related permits. According to Ukraine's State Nuclear Regulatory Inspectorate 2019 report, 358 ionizing radiation sources were in use in Western Ukraine last year. However, Uzhhorod National University did not have a license for the use of such equipment. In short, there was no ionizing radiation source to steal from this university, yet Russian media gleefully wailed about the possibility of it being smuggled out of Ukraine. And all Ukraine's entry and exit points are equipped with radiation detectors to help detect illegal shipments of radioactive materials. Last year, such materials were seized at Ukraine's borders on 3 separate occasions. That's it for this week. You can find much more dissected disinformation on our website, StopFake.org. Remember, if you spot any disinformation about Ukraine, forward it to us for a truth autopsy. I'm Marko Suprun, and this is StopFake. Thanks for watching.